See, when they ask us to show that f is a function and the domain of f is not a finite set, it is not possible to give the explanation for each and every element because there are infinitely many elements. The domain of f contains closed interval 0 to 10, infinitely many elements. So either you need to take an arbitrary element and explain that, or you need to use the graph method. So we have two methods to explain that f is a function, to prove that f is a function. So the graph method is the best method. So if you draw the graph of this function f of x, between 0 to 10 we need. So let us highlight the first quadrant, 0 to 10, and when you have 10, x is equal to 10, and then you'll get 30. So you can take different scales on x-axis and y-axis to get a better diagram, neat diagram. You can take different scales on x-axis and y-axis. I mean to say, you can take the 10 till 10, right? So you can take 2, each one has 2 here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and here till 30 you need to go. So 30 means you take 6 multiples, 6, 3 times of 12 and 18, 24 and 30, right? And after that, you see this between 0 to 3, between 0 to 3, you have this definition. So when x is equal to 0, when x is equal to 0, x square is 0. When x is equal to 2, x square is 4. 4 is somewhere here. When x is equal to 3, x square is 9. 9 is in middle of these two. So the graph of this is like this. X square graph like this. Next, at x is equal to 3, you can use the second definition also. 3 3s are 9. Both you are getting the same. And then from there onwards, it is a line. 3x is a line. Y is equal to 3x is a line. But that line you should take only from 3 onwards, not from the beginning. So when you substitute x is equal to 4 in this second line, 3 4s are 12. So at 4 it is 12. And you substitute 6, 3 6 are 18. Obviously, because it's a linear function, you get a line here. From here onwards, you get a line till 10. Like this. So now you can see the graph. The function condition is the vertical line test should be satisfied. The graph is there along throughout the domain 0 to 10. So the domain is 0 to 10. Every element between 0 to 10 has an image that you don't need a graph for that. You can see the definitions and then confirm. For every value between 0 to 3, you can calculate x square. For every value between 3 to 10, you can calculate 3x. So no restrictions, no problems for the elements between 0 to 10 to calculate the images. So the existence condition is satisfied. Get the confirmation from here itself. And then uniqueness condition, vertical line test. You take any vertical line, every vertical line, you can write that explanation as for every x belongs to 0 to 10, f of x is defined. That means that's a real number. And the graph of f of x satisfies vertical line test. Vertical line test means every vertical line should intercept graph exactly once. Therefore, f is a function. For that, you calculate g of 2. Using the first definition, if you calculate g of 2, 2 square equal to 4. Using the second definition, if you calculate g of 2, that is 3 into 2 equal to 6. So the 2 has two images, 4 and 6. G is not a function. That's it. Suppose f of x equal to 1 by x minus 2, but 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3, and equal to 3x, 3 less than or equal to x less than 10. Suppose if I give the definition like this, I gave that between 0 to 3, the image is 1 by x minus 2. But if I take x is equal to 2, 1 by 0 won't be defined, right? So even though I mentioned like 0 to 10 is a domain, the actual domain is not 0 to 10. The domain that time will be 0 to 2 union 2 to 10, because at 2 it is not defined, right? So we manually checked that between 0 to 10, for the first part of 0 to 10, 0 to 3, for any number between 0 to 3, x square is defined. That means it's a real number. And for any number between 3 to 10, 3x is defined. That means that's a real number. So there is no indeterminate form or denominator 0 or under root negative number for the inputs in this interval. So the all inputs are having a real outputs. So the all out inputs are allowed to be there in the domain, right? So example is not enough for the proof. For that, I will give one example, right? Suppose if I give a property 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus and so on, n terms equal to 2n minus 1. This is what the formula that I gave. So can anyone tell me my formula is true or false?
Sir, I think it's false.
You think it is false, but I think it is
Wait.
true.
So it's true, it's true.
Because I take n is equal to 1. When I take n is equal to 1, so I take one term equal to 2 ones are 2 minus 1, so that which is equal to 1. So LHS equal to RHS.
So isn't it false because if you use 2 then there'll be a problem?
No.
Yes.
For 2 also I am not getting any problem. For 2,
What?
it is sum of two terms. It is sum of n terms. So it's 1 plus 2.
Okay.
LHS is equal to 1 plus 2 and RHS equal to 2 times of 2 minus 1. So 3 equal to 3. So LHS is. So can I confirm
Sir, but that
Ah.
no, sir. You just said that example. One example can't prove it. So you'll have to make the graph.
So here n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2, it is true. So for n is equal to 3, if you verify, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is the LHS, and that is 6. And 2n minus 1 is 2 times of 3. 2 3s are 6 minus 1 is 5. These two are not equal. Right?
Sir.
So I tried enough to give it that such that it is, I tried such that it is true for as many numbers as possible. I could only try such that it is true for 2 numbers because I have less time. I need to plan the question instantly. But it is easy to frame a question such that it is true for many numbers but fails only few numbers. right? So in that cases, when it is true for many numbers, fails only in few cases. Even you verify for 10-15 cases also, you feel like all 10-15 cases it is true, and okay, that's why it is true. Can you confirm the proof like that? No, you can't, right? For understanding, so for understanding, for feeling comfortable with the definition, you can use the examples and then check, just to know the nature, just to understand the nature of the function. You can use the examples, but you can't give that as a proof. Usually,
Yes, sir.
yeah, usually whatever looks simple, you'll be attracted towards to that. That's why, yeah, whatever people like, that is only will be posted in the whatever the internet, right? F of 1.1 is 1.1 the whole square minus f of 1 is 1 square, and this is 1.1 minus 1. Instead of doing the direct calculation, I'll use the formulas. A square minus b square, I can use a plus b. It is not 1 dot 1 into 1, it is 1.1 into 1.1 minus 1 by 1.1 minus 1. So 1.1 minus 1 get cancelled, and 2.1 is the answer. Find the domain of this. We did already similar problem from the examples. The domain condition is x square minus 8x plus 12 is not equal to 0. So x minus 2 into x minus 4 is not equal to 0. X is not equal to 2, x is not equal to 4. Domain is r minus 2 comma 4. Calculation mistake. It's x minus 6. Not equal to 6. Not equal to 6. Yeah. See, the domain condition is simple. X minus 1 in under root expression should be greater than or equal to 0. That implies x greater than or equal to 1. That implies x belongs to closed 1 to infinity. Hence, domain is 1 to infinity. Next, coming to the range. Range also the same. As 1 is less than or equal to x less than infinity. This is straightforward from the domain. That implies we need to investigate where the root x minus 1 lies. So first investigate where x minus 1 lies. 1 minus 1 less than or equal to x minus 1 is less than infinity minus 1 is infinity. That implies 0 less than or equal to x minus 1. So this is what improving, like writing many steps. Here I could directly write, I could skip this step. But I wrote, if it is given for 2 marks, then I'll write this. If it is given for 1 mark, I'll directly write the domain and range. Right? That implies take the square root throughout. 0 is less than or equal to root x minus 1 is less than infinity. So the range is closed 0 to infinity. Right? So the domain, same as mod x minus 1 is defined for every x belongs to R. Domain is all real numbers. That's it. And the range as mod x minus 1 belongs to close 0 to infinity. The range is close to 0 to infinity. Or you can start from the, if you want to write the steps for the same, more number of steps, we know are given minus infinity less than x less than infinity. So the minus, when you subtract 1 also, it lies in the same interval. And when you take the modulus for that, instead of writing directly, we just show that 1, 2 steps. Therefore, range is closed to 0 to infinity, right? Basically, the meaning of this is f of x equal to x square by 1 plus x square. Because it's a rational function, you can use the y method. What is that y method? Let f of x equal to y. That implies x square by 1 plus x square equal to y. That implies x square equal to y plus yx square. That implies x square equal to, okay, let us write it in one side. So 1 minus y x square. You need to write x as a subject, so you should bring x to one side equal to y. So that implies x square equal to y by 1 minus y. That implies x is equal to the plus minus, both you should take. When you are only taking the square root, you should take both. And now, the range is possible values of y. Such that x is in the domain. Domain is real numbers here. This statement you need not write. For your understanding, I'm writing that statement. Right? And then what you need to write, the domain condition for that under root expression should be greater than or equal to 0. So y by 1 minus y greater than or equal to 0. That implies a fraction is positive if the product of numerator and denominator is positive. But equal to 0 can be given only to the numerator. That implies the Weyvikov method, the well-known Weyvikov method for us, the 0 is one root and 1 is one root. And the y square coefficient is negative, should start from minus in the rightmost, and then the plus, and then the minus. You want the product to be positive, so the y belongs to open 0 to 1. And this ry equal to 0 is there. So y belongs to closed 0 to open 1. And you should check with the original function also. 0 is allowed or not? Yes. If you take x0, you get y0. Yeah. And then the range is closed 0 to 1. So the alternate method, they're given x.
Isn't the answer from 0 to infinity?
X belongs to R, they are given. When they're given x belongs to R, automatically x square is greater than or equal to 0.
So can you go back to the previous page?
Yeah, I'll just complete this and then give this. That implies x square plus 1 is greater than 0. You can write this, right? So you can write x square plus 1 greater than 0. And these two you keep aside, because our aim is to prove that define the range of that expression x square by 1 plus x square. So you write this 0 is less than or equal to x square.
So won't it be greater than or equal to 1?
No, I didn't added anything. I added 1 only on one side, so automatically it will be positive.
Okay.
For a non-negative number, I added 1, so it will become a positive number. Greater than or equal to 1, so automatically greater than 0. Now I divide with a positive quantity throughout. So divide with what is that? X square plus 1. So before dividing with x square plus 1, I would like to write this fact also. What is that fact? X is from this, I can write x square plus 1 greater than x square also. Because when I'm adding 1, so automatically for that you don't need x is equal to 0. I can directly write this fact. So using that fact, I can write here instead of infinity, I can write it's less than x square plus 1. Yeah. So now I divide this with x square plus 1, a positive number. So 0 is less than or equal to x square by x square plus 1 is less than x square plus 1 by x square plus 1. So 0 less than or equal to x square by x square plus 1 less than 1. Right? You can use this method also.